am here today with the Story Ideas writing tag. This tag was originally done by Bethany, Atazadeh, and Brook, Passemore. I'll leave the links for the videos down below. It has 10 questions. I've got them right here, so let's go ahead and get started. First question, current story. What is your current story idea that you're working on right now? My current story idea is called Stop the Raven, and it is about a reaper that returns home. That's all I'm going to tell you. Yes, it is. Number 2, spark of inspiration. Do your ideas begin with characters, plot, world building, or something else entirely? My stories can pretty much start with anything. If it's some character that pops into my head and I really want to write about this character, I'll start building a story around them. If it could be a line, it could be a scene, it could be anything. I have no limitations when it comes to what my stories are based off of or where they come from. Third question, brainstorm. How do you puzzle piece your story elements together? Do you start with the ending and make your way to the beginning, or vice versa? Puzzle piecing my stories together. That one, it's an and you start anywhere. This current project that I'm working on, Stop the Raven, it started with a scene that turned out to be a scene in the middle of the book, and I had to go forwards and backwards, and that was a huge headache. I do not recommend doing that, but if that's where you have to start it, then that's where you have to start it. Otherwise, I have done other stories before where I have started the story at the beginning and worked my way to the end just by asking, okay, what happens next? What happens next? Where does this go? Stuff like that. That's how I puzzle piece my stories together. Fourth question, keep or toss. How do you know when you want to keep or dump a story idea? This one's relatively simple. I'll have a story idea, I'll write it down, and then it goes into my waiting file. Sometimes I'll write scenes, chapters, characters, whatnot, and if I can't find anywhere else to go with it, I will put it into what's called waiting list folder, and I will come back to it months later. And if I come back to it months later and I still really want to write it, then I will go ahead and just keep on writing it. Otherwise, if I come back to it and I'm staring at it, trying to figure out what I was going with it, where I was going, and if I can't remember, then it's probably going in the toss file. Number 5, original idea. How much of your original idea for your story is actually used once everything is finished? I've only fully written out one story, and that is Stop the Raven, and as of right now, I could probably tell you maybe 5 to 10% of that story is actually still in it. I had completely ripped apart the original story, and I kept the main idea, which is a reaper returning home, and then maybe 3 characters. That's all that survived that rewrite, so not a whole lot. Number 6. Hide or share. Do you share your book ideas with your friends or keep them secret? It depends on how far into the story I am. Usually new beginning stories I usually keep to myself and kind of just piddle paddle with it here and there. Piddle paddle. That's a word now. Yes, it is. And I'll piddle paddle with it here and there, and then I will continue working on it. If I get further than the first draft and actually decide I actually want to go through full force with this, and I will probably wind up start sharing it with people, bits and pieces here and there. Nothing overly exciting. Number 7, dream. Have any of your book ideas originated with a dream or a nightmare? Yes. I woke up one morning and I had this really creepy dream where me and some friends were being chased around a warehouse by something. I'm not 100% what it was. I never did figure out what it was. But we were being chased. I remember being scared out of my life, and I woke up and I'm like, I really want to write that story. So I grabbed my little notebook and I wrote down what I remember from the dream, and maybe one day I'll actually get to writing that. We'll see. Number 8, Doppelganger. Have you ever had an idea for a story but then seen a similar premise in a book, TV show, or movie? Again, yes. It is really hard not to come up with a story idea and then realize that somebody else has done it. That being said, I Stop the Raven, like I said, is about a reaper that returns home. This is really close to the TV show Dead Like Me, where the girl dies and becomes a reaper, yada yada yada. The whole thing with that though is that I had forgotten. I watched Dead Like Me when it first came out, completely forgotten about it. A couple years later I came up with Stop the Raven, the idea for Stop the Raven, wrote it, and then I think it was just last year that I remembered Dead Like Me, and I was like, wow, that's really close to my story. And I guess some part of me remembered that and kind of made it its own. Less comedy. It's not as funny though. I will tell you that. Number 9, big screen inspiration. Have any of your favorite movies, TV shows sparked ideas for your scenes in your book? Yes. Again, I guess I have huge influences from outside, but whatever. The original idea, like originally maybe what to write Stop the Raven, came from when I was watching my first round of Supernatural. And if that doesn't say something, I don't know what to tell you. But I was watching my first round of Supernatural. It was about the episode about the Reapers, and then the song Don't Fear the Reaper came on, and this whole scene exploded in my head. I wrote an entire book around this entire scene. So, yay. Otherwise, I can't really think of any other movies or television shows that have inspired my book. Not really. Number 10, nostalgia. What's the oldest first story idea you remember coming up with or writing down? The oldest first story idea I remember coming up with was in high school, and I did mention this in my ArthurTube newbie tag, and I actually got it wrong. It wasn't the penguins killing the scientists. It was, I came across this paper. I remember this now. It was the hummingbirds killing the campers. The penguins came later. It was a school assignment for Halloween where we had to write a scary short story. I came up with this idea where these kids go camping and then the hummingbirds kill them. And I got an 8 on that paper. And I also got a crazy little note on the side that said creative but disturbing. And I was really proud of myself. I'm still really proud of that story, as a matter of fact. But I did actually find it, and it wasn't the penguins. The penguins came later. It was the hummingbirds that killed the campers first. And so that is it. That is all 10 questions from the Story Ideas writing tag. Feel free to do it for yourself. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment, subscribe. Until next time. Bye. So, number 9. Number 9. I don't know. Yeah,